Hey guys, Lord here, back again with another review, and today we'll be taking a look at the Hasbro Transformers Legacy Walmart exclusive Deluxe Class Night Stalker, Sandstorm, and Buzzsaw. That's right, a 3-for-1 review, quote unquote. And for those of you who tuned into my Vintage Head He-Man and Skeletor from the Mattel Motu Origins line last week, this is pretty much more of the same because we've seen these molds before, so I'm probably going to reiterate several times throughout this video that yes, there will be links in the description below to their original, I want to say it's Kingdom Deluxe Class counterparts. So, with that being said, without further ado, let's get right into the meat and taters of this review, kindly moving these guys out of the way. Take a look-see at the packaging for each of these figures. Starting off with Night Stalker. You see the big old honkin' Walmart clearance sticker there for $10. Not a bad deal. Here's the back, here's the front. Cool artwork and a window. A lone tier for the what once was Hasbro window box packaging. Here's Sandstorm. Big old clearance sticker right on the artwork. That kind of sucks, but I am going to throw these out because I don't keep my boxes. And last but certainly not least, we have Buzzsaw. And there you go. No collectible trading cards with these figures either. I know the Kingdom line had several figures with those. That said, here is Night Stalker. Very odd they went with the Cheetor mold. I mean, I know they don't have a wolf mold, but when I think of Night Stalkers, I think of vampires and werewolves, not snow leopards. I think he's got spots on him. Either way, he comes with the tail whip, which you can put in his hand here. Which I always do like the corkscrew method to get it in there all the way. There you go. And there he is with his tail whip. Once again, no gut gun. I don't know what they have against that, but they gave it to Tigatron, which I think is the perfected version of this mold. The Ravage mold was good. That was a step in the right direction, but the Tigatron figure is definitely where it's at when it comes to these kind of quadrupedal feline characters, which, can we get, like, some canines that are built like this or something at some point? That would be nice. That said, he does of course have the Cheetor head going on, and if I reach off to the side here, here's good old Cheetor with the same exact head. And here is Shadow Panther with the mutant head, which I kind of like more. I don't know, and I also feel like if you wanted to, you could do a head swap with these two and no one would dot an eye. I think the colors on Night Stalker kind of work with Shadow Panther, but to each their own, I guess. Other than that, it's the same as the Cheetor mold, which we've seen plenty of times, hence why I did this guy first, just get the boring stuff out of the way, so we could take a look at something a little bit more interesting in, if I can get to him here, Sandstorm, who's of course a repaint of Scorponok, and unfortunately, at least on mine, he's got rather loose knees, so he has a tendency to fall on his butt. Of course, he's not going to do it now, but he was doing it when I was setting up this review, so that's not the best. He does have the mutant head this time around, whereas Scorponok had the non-mutant head. Very phallic looking. Kind of looks like, well, a penis. With a Bane mask. I am Sandstorm. I look like one of the Coneheads. That said, I will say the scorpion legs do stay pretty snug on his back. They did make some improvements here, but it's mostly not as good as Scorponok in my opinion. That said, you can open the claws and store the missiles. It comes with the little missile pod here. You can store that in the right claw. find the hole for it, that is. That's what she said. Really tight fit, too. And then for the left claw, you get this little wasp drone, bee drone, I don't know. It's not Waspinator, if that's what you're wondering. But you can plug that in. And I will say, on the left claw, on mine anyways, the bottom half fell off right out of package, but after, heating it a little bit, I was able to snap it back together. The top piece came off too, so be careful with that. That said, here he is alongside Scorponok. Pretty cool. Again, I'll leave links to reviews of all these guys in the description so you can see a more in-depth video. Actually, pulling him back out, look at that head sculpt. And look at that one. Definitely see the transition there. So I think that's kind of a cool gimmick. They're giving them the mutant heads to kind of make them a little different. I can respect that. And I can also respect that $10 price tag. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge. But I have to say, of the three, I think Sandstorm's probably my favorite, despite the loose knees. And then there's one issue I have in Beast mode. We'll talk about that in a minute here. Get him to stand. Because now we have to talk about Buzzsaw, who probably has the most improvements as opposed to his original counterpart, which would, of course, be Waspinator, who we'll bring out in a minute here. He does come with a little stinger gun, which you can plug into his hand here. Or you can do what I like to do. And what I like to do, at least in storage anyways, I like to plug the stinger gun into his butt. So it is safe and sound and not going to get lost, That said, the torso assembly on Waspinator, if you remember, was very, very loose and didn't really stay together that well. This guy is a completely different story. This hinge is tight. This hinge, it doesn't snap in per se, but the hinges at least are a little bit more snug, and you're able to get things to sit a little bit better. That said, the top part, I thought it snapped in, but I guess it doesn't. But you do get a little bit more secure of a configuration here. A little bit, not a ton, mind you. Whereas with Waspinator, it literally feels like if you tip him upside down, he's going to flop over. So I don't know what's going on with that. I don't know why they didn't put tabs in there in the first place, but at least the bug head on this guy, I guess it's a wasp or a hornet or something, that part is at least tighter on this guy, so it doesn't flop about, whereas on Waspinator it does. That said, you can see that this guy has the non-mutant head, because for those of you who don't know, Waspinator in the Beast Wars series adopted the mutant head, which has been his thing for years. So this guy has the standard kind of bot head. It looks cool. I prefer the Waspinator head, of course, but you can definitely see where, these pieces would probably fold up and form the Waspinator face, so that's pretty cool. That said, that's pretty much it. Buzzsaw, Sandstorm, and Night Stalker, of course, all have different coloring. And having all three of these really makes me wish I got that Mutant Tigatron, because that was a really cool looking version of Tigatron, and I didn't buy it, and I feel stupid because it's probably not available on Amazon anymore. But if anyone can hook that up for a reasonable price, I'm definitely interested, because I like the Tigatron mold. That is probably one of the best molds out of this line, along with the Optimus Primal, in my opinion. I also never got that, is it Nemesis Primal? That weird bat guy, who I think was a repaint of Mindwipe, if I'm not mistaken. But there you go. There are our three... Move them Walmart exclusive Beast Wars variants from Transformers Legacy. Cool, you know, but I don't think you need these. If you didn't get like all the mutant figures, I think the only mutant figure you really need is Shadow Panther, since he has some lore behind him. I think these guys were just unreleased figures here in the States and maybe like Japan exclusive or something. That said, for all the good it'll do you, here they are with Brother Mandibulus. And Spawn, who are of course bigger. And that should be obvious by now. But yeah, I do like these. I think they're fun. For half price, you can't beat it. You can't buy much for $10 nowadays, let alone a deluxe class Transformer. I don't think I bought a deluxe class Transformer for $10 since freaking roughly around Dark of the Moon. So that shows you how old I am, I guess, maybe, sorta. But panning the camera down because these guys are rather short compared to most things I review. And off center. Sorry, my OCD drives me nuts sometimes, but I got to be somewhat professional. I do like these, but again, you probably don't need them. It's whatever, but I like them. I think they're cool. I think there have been some improvements made, particularly with the Waspinator mold. I just kind of wish those improvements were made with like a reissue of Waspinator or something instead of this character that most people probably haven't heard of before, you know? But that's just personal opinion. Maybe some people like Buzzsaw more, and I guess if anything, you could put him with that Ravage, PulseCon Ravage. I kind of wouldn't mind seeing a Laserbeak on the Air Razor mold. I mean, I know it's kind of a little bit feminine, but hey, they pulled it off with Pterosaur, right? So, with that being said, let's get these guys transformed into their beast modes and wrap this thing up, shall we? Let's! And as promised, here's our 3 Walmart exclusive Beastformers fully transformed into their respected beast modes. And as we did previously for robot mode, we're going to kindly move Buzzsaw and Sandstorm out of the way here and focus our attention on Night Stalker first, since we've seen this mold more than twice now. Bringing in the Cheetor figure. Here he is with him. As you can see, they're even more similar than him and Shadow Panther because of the spots in this mode. Then speaking of which, here is Shadow Panther, who's just all black. Has a little bit more in common with the Ravage from Hasbro PulseCon. The Decepticons Forever kind of Frankenstein kit bash of this body and various new parts. That said, you can clearly see that this guy is some kind of leopard, I guess. I thought he was all one color, but there are clearly spots on this figure, so that's cool at least. It's not complete wash. That said, you do get your opening jaw like the previous versions of this mold. The tail whip does plug into his butt and become the tail, of course. And then, you know, the legs move and stuff, but I'm not going to go over this again. As I said before, a link will be in the description below to both Cheetor and Shadow Panther's reviews, so you can see a full in-depth breakdown of this mold, because we've seen it so many times before. That said, a mold we haven't seen a whole heck of a lot. Sandstorm, aka, bring him in here quick, Scorponok, who I'm actually quite fond of. A lot of people dog on this Scorponok mold, but I think it's cool. A little small, but it's okay. That said, as far as Sandstorm is concerned, he is very much different in terms of color, at least, when it comes to Scorponok, and also transformation, because if we look at the underside, you can see that this foot is not pegged into the kneecap there for the other leg, whereas on this guy it is. I don't know why that is, though. I don't know if there's some kind of mold defect on mine, but my good buddy T-Biz can vouch for this because he does have Sandstorm and not Scorponok. His foot doesn't tab into the kneecap either. So I don't know if they just changed it because that's too hard, because on Scorponok it's really easy. On this guy, it's either way freaking hard than it needs to be, or it just doesn't work. So, you know, it is what it is. It kind of sucks that you can't get that nice flush underside. I don't know if it's got to do with the mutant head sticking out there or what, but something just ain't right there. That said, his claws do open, and you can, of course, see the weapons we plugged in during robot mode in there. Got the bee on one side and the missile pod on the other. Other than that, I kind of like the color palette on Sandstorm a little bit more. I think, other than the loose knees in robot mode, he's a little bit better than Scorponok, a little bit more fun. And, of course, the fact that this does not tab in is kind of a bummer as well, but really cool figure. But again, I'm going to leave a link in the description below to Scorponok's review if you want a full in-depth breakdown of that figure, because we have looked at it before. Then we have Buzzsaw. Little Master of the Universe for you there. It was, of course, reuse of Waspinator, once again. And as previously mentioned for the other two, link in the description below for him. But the main difference is color here and the head in robot mode, much like Night Stalker. And of course the Sandstorm to a point. I mean, the mold defect transformation thing is kind of new, but I don't know if that's intentional or what. But as you can see, he's clearly like some kind of wasp or some kind of bee or hornet or whatever. He's not green like Waspinator. He's more traditional color for a bug of this type, kind, species, whatever, genus, I don't know. I'm not a biology teacher, okay, so, you know, take that for what you will. More realistic, we'll say. But I think it gets the job done. And really, you could put this guy with the Ravage figure and have a couple of Soundwave cassettes, but they turn into these crazy, you know, semi-organic beasts, which I think is really cool. And not a lot of articulation on him to begin with. The legs kind of move about, but they don't really sit flush, at least not on mine. So that is a problem, but it is what it is, man. These are just variants. You don't need these. I would say of the batch, I do like the Sandstorm with that head sculpt and the colors really pop, but that weird transformation error is an issue. I will say the legs on the Sandstorm figure are a little tighter in Scorpion mode, so that's cool. But getting them all back in frame here. If you really wanted to see them with our two regulars, here they are with Spawn right there and Brother Mandibulus over there, who, as you can see, are clearly taller because they are standing on 2 legs instead of 4 legs, or 6 legs in the Predacon's case. But yeah, that's pretty much Night Stalker, Sandstorm, and Buzzsaw, not Buzz Off, you moron, in a nutshell. Overall, as I said before, you don't really need these. These are 100% optional in my opinion, and I just got them because they went on clearance. If they didn't go on clearance, I probably wouldn't have got them, although now I'm kind of kicking myself for not picking up the Amazon exclusive Tigatron with the mutant head, because I could totally put him with some of these variants, but it is what it is, I suppose. Maybe I'll be able to get it later down the line for a decent price, and I'll do a review of that figure as well. So with that being said, I hope you guys enjoyed this review. If you're so inclined, please feel free to do all the YouTube rigmarole, as well as hit me up over on Instagram at Overlord Productions. If you ever want to talk toys or anything in particular, this is the #1 best way to get a hold of yours truly. And as always, keep the comments civil, because the world sucks enough as it is, especially when you mix up Transformers with Masters of the Universe and make yourself look like a total dummy on the internet. Probably not the first time, but definitely, most likely, in my case anyways, not going to be the last. So with that being said, till next time, I'll catch you guys later.